Welcome to Dr. Jester Rants, and I'm gonna rant about this. From Russian Today, or RT as they like to paint it, but I need to make it myself clear. Don't trust much what it is printed on RT, especially because they are very partisan and always pro-Russia, to the point that they will skew the news to fit their narrative, because, well, RT is in fact sponsored by the Russian government. So unless you actually know the journalist the journalist that wrote the article, or you know more or less the facts behind it, I suggest you avoid it unless you want a very biased news. Think of it as a government-sponsored CNN. That's how bad RT is. Anyway, back to the news. Wanna know why I trust this article in particular? Because of her, Sofia Narwitz. She is a very good journalist. She's a very competent journalist. In fact, I think all journalists, from normal journalists to game journalists, should mimic her work. She is excellent, incredible journalist. She will always do the best of the best, which is why I trust this article in special. And I will ignore that it comes from RT. Anyway, back to the article. Let me read the title. Massive attention scam, $85,000 stolen, developer driven to suicide and gaming media utterly bullied. Happy anniversary, Zoe Quinn. Yes, she's one of the originals, bitches of the anti-gamergate. Careful. Anyway, back to the article. Every single blue line here is the very important bit. Exactly 1 year ago, a man killed himself because of feminist gaming activist Zoe Quinn. 2 years ago, because of a feminist gaming activist Zoe Quinn. 2 years ago, 2,450 backers of her Kickstarter project got the last update on its status. This is the story of her double anniversary. Fear and loathing. As I've previously reported on, game journalism has come under the iron fist of a clique which punishes wrongthink. She's absolutely correct, they actually do punish wrongthink. If you publish anything that goes out of the narrative, they will call their own followers to bully the shit out of you until you leave the platform and never get hired again. Anything counter to that increasingly extreme liberal left-wing narrative gets called at the root. This is a good example because she has suffered a lot of bullying for publishing the truth. Sophia has been the victim of this. Anyway, back to the article. Through multiple sources, I've been able to confirm that the writers are afraid to share their opinions, which goes against the grain lest they lose writing opportunities within an ever-shrinking field. This fear extends to the coverage of certain newsworthy topics. Exactly. One such subject deemed off limits is anything involving Zoe Quinn, who sells herself big as an activist fighting online hate and harassment, which doesn't paint her in a positive light. And she actually tries to sell herself like that, but she is one of the biggest bullies around, and she harasses everybody. Remember, if you go and find her on Twitter or anything like that, don't contact her, don't talk to her, leave her alone. Because the moment you disagree with anybody like her, that means Control Left, SJWs, BLM, Antifa, or anybody like that, any disagreement, any wrongthink is considered harassment. And they will go after you for it, and if you do actual harassment, that would be like you killing the person. So please don't go and talk to these people. Leave them alone. Anyway, back to the article. The source has revealed to me they almost lost their job after publicly disagreeing with Quinn about something on social media. They were discussing a political hot topic, and she didn't take too kindly to their perspective, so she spoke up to the management at the website where my source worked. Exactly, she will harass you, she will go after the job of the person that dares to disagree with her. She is one of the most toxic people on the internet and on Twitter, but Twitter doesn't do anything. How dare you? This resulted in a stern talking to an unspoken threat that their job was in peril if they continued to engage with her. While speaking with another source who previously worked with Quinn on a project she was heading, I was told people often feel burned by her. She believed those within her vicinity continually get screwed while she only grows, chewing and spitting others out as she goes. A reason these people aren't publicly speaking out is because of a belief it will end badly for them. That is kind of mafia tactics, and as evidenced by Crash Override Network, they may not be incorrect. There has been a few leaks of these Crash Override Network chat rooms, and the leak and the content is kind of disturbing. I'm not going to go through with them because otherwise this video is going to be too long, and I want it to be a quickie, short and sweet. But thinking about it, it might not be as short as I want to, but this was a service launched by Zoe Quinn and fellow fame-hungry woke gaming activist Anita Sarkeesian, which would... Jesus Christ, what the hell is wrong with my English? Which would only last a couple of years. It was marketed as a support group for victims of online harassment, but former staff eventually came out and levied various allegations its way. Among these were complaints about lack of pay and an environment which made transgender staff feel taken advantage of. This is one of the things that I want to go through with it, because of these people are so hateful, and they eventually do spew hatred and things that they will actively condemned from the other side, condemned from the other side, if they even make the same use of words or arguments, even for a joke, they use it openly. Why? How do they do that? Because they use these minority, in this case, transgender women, or sometimes black women, or minorities, or even Latinos, or things like that. Non-white people, if I'm going to say it, as a shield. They use these people as a shield so they can hold those arguments and words out without consequences. For instance, there has been a very large campaign around more or less at the peak of Gamergate, in which a bunch of people, including women and other minorities, who stood up to take a picture or even videos with a sign saying, "I am not your shield." And sometimes I actually still use that argument when those idiots try to feel offended by proxy or offended for me, when in fact I am not. I am a stout supporter of the freedom of speech. That means even if there's a joke about my ancestry, or being Latino, or being Jewish with Jewish ancestry. I'm not actually practicing Jewish, but I have Jewish ancestry, so I am complete 100% in favor of freedom of speech. So that means even idiots that you find in comment sections of the One Angry Gamer website is allowed to speak, even though they are absolutely fucking retarded as if they are fucking sisters and brothers, and they pooped out super inbred, and they don't even realize they are eating communist propaganda, and that they are acting exactly like Zoe Quinn or others like her, or SJWs, commies, and Antifa. They don't realize it. And Antifa and Control F don't realize they are acting like neo-Nazis and Nazis themselves. So sorry about that. So they don't realize how similar they are. The only difference is the targeting group. From the left, it's usually the white and heterosexuals that are the targeted group. On the other side, I'm not gonna say it right because the neo-Nazis are actually socialists, and socialists are all left-wing. But let's face it, here is the Antifa and Control Left, and they are all saying the argument, and that whites and heterosexuals are the targeted victim. They are the ones they used as an attack. And here we have the neo-Nazis, white supremacists, and the other retards and inbreds who actually think that Jewish people and other people who are not white are the big evil thingy. So if you swap around the arguments, but change the target demographic, you have the same message. It's the same thing. It sounds exactly the same. For instance, the big back cabal of white men, and just change white men to Jewish, and you have the same argument. They don't realize it's the same thing. They're fucking retarded. And wait, back to the news. The complaints, the worst allegation was that the entire network was designed only to help those who were famous enough to elevate Zoe's name and status, as would be revealed in blogs and social media posts. Average people who went to Crash Override Network for help were essentially denied service and just sent a generic copy and pasted emails. It's to cut costs when you have money to spend on nice little trips. I mean, why are you criticizing this? You do know that the Zoe requires a lot of makeup and she needs to enjoy her holidays. I mean, but what are you guys thinking? You need to cut costs. She needs her money. As they told it, only names which were known would get personalized help. For some of those who spoke up about what they saw as a misguided project, online harassment became the norm. Zoe Quinn diehards rushed to her defense, simps, and relentlessly attacked them until they deleted their posts or their entire social media accounts. A hypocritical turn of events, to be sure, considering some of these were vulnerable trans people, i.e. those Zoe was marketing herself as protecting. It's not unusual for those critical of Zoe to be bombarded with hate, as weaponized bullying is one of the cards Quinn relies on most heavily. This has costed the life of somebody else. Let's keep going. When speaking to yet another source who works at a well-known gaming publication, they informed me that they skip stories about her, knowing it will lead to not only hordes of her defenders attacking them, but the people within the industry will raise a ruckus on social media. There's also a legitimate fear that they may lose access to industry events and more. Okay, uncover documents on Queen abused, but we can. Okay, let's keep going. Oh yes, this is about the kickstarting failure. She stole money from people and, well, as you can see here, it shouldn't be lost and you will crash over. Okay, Crash Override Network acronym is CON. So it's a con artist, but let's keep going here. Kickstarted in the butt, a Chuck Tingle digital adventure was a crowdfunding campaign launched on October 26, 2016. As per its pitch, Zoe was seeking $420,000 for an erotic video game based on the works of Chuck Tingle. At the time of its introduction to the world, it was claimed the game was already a year into development and that it hit a February 2017 release window. That actually never happened. I remember reading about that when I first started my channel. Anyway, back to the news. Happy 2nd anniversary, Zoe Quinn! Zoe Quinn still has not updated backers as to the whereabouts of her game. Would you care to comment on not gonna say, ignore what you saw. People gave you $85,000 and as a Kickstarter backer comments revealed they want to know what's happening. Why the long silence? Why the long silence, Sophia? You do know that. She needs that money for the makeup, she needs it for The nice car for living nice. She needs it for her trip. How dare she stay in a hotel, on a 2-star hotel, without or on a hotel that doesn't have its own bathroom inside the room? How dare you suggest that? The title will go on to raise $85,448 from a total of 2,450 backers. Backers who have yet to see anything materialize. So much for February. Comments left on the Kickstarter page show a content of people who were now frustrated by not only the lack of a game, but the absolute lack of any update. She stole your money. Zoe has not addressed them in exactly 2 years. Allegedly, she stole your money. Last time she wrote to them was on August 30th, 2018. Holy shit, 2018. A can warms in on and of itself, given how flimsy her excuse was. While literally vacationing in Japan, Zoe told people who'd given her $85,000 that she didn't have the money left to finish the game. Of course. Well, that new vehicle or that trip to Japan costs money. Where do you think she's gonna get money from? From simps? And what's the best way to get money from simps? With a fucking Kickstarter for making a promise of a game that will never materialize. Okay, time to stop being bitter about trying to sap my joy and bad favor and go back to appreciate the fact that I get to be too busy with making cool shit that I love to completely goof off in Tokyo. What an awesome problem I get to have. What cool shit have you done lately? I think she was about to write a comic, but that's about it. Call me crazy, but I don't think people lacking funds typically take lavish vacations or back on the people's creative projects, but Quinn can walk away from blatant misdeeds and scathing because aiding her escape is a gaming press all too willing to turn a blind eye to her wrongdoings. And that's exactly what happened. It just pisses me off, really. You can get away with so much with these people. At the time of her Kickstarter quite a few of big-name publications promoted it to the audience, publicity that no doubt helped it reach its funding goal. But as it is to be expected, not a single one has since followed up on the status of the game. Media publications simply refused to cover the shadiness that has since blossomed in its wake, further highlighting the cliquish nature of the medium, that some of the people who wrote about it are either personal friends with Zoe or featured in the game themselves. As should be evident by now, Zoe Quinn has been enabled by gaming media that allows her to act with impunity, something all the more clear on today of all days, for this marks exactly 1 year since Alec Holowka took his own life because of her. This is even the sad part, because he killed himself because of this bitch. But well. On August 26th, 2019, Quinn lobbed near-decade-old abuse accusation up online, and allegedly, but reading about it, it seems faked. Maybe, well, let's keep reading. This she directed at game developer Alec Holowka. Almost immediately, the gaming press latched on, and before the guy could defend himself or share his side of the story, he was already a dead man walking. For in the era of believe women, he was presumed guilty. And that's exactly the truth. It just requires a woman to release an accusation against a male for them to believe completely without evidence. And that really makes me afraid. For instance, any woman could come out, I may not even know who she is, and she could say, you harassed me. And the entire mob rule will come and attack without single shred of evidence, presumption of innocence before guilt, or even an investigation or anything like that. They don't care. It's called mob rules. And the control left has pretty much done that, has weaponized it to a point that it goes way beyond the Me Too thingy. the way beyond of believe a woman or believe 100% women has gone way beyond that with the BLM, as we can see here. And way back to the news. Within days, his game studio parted ways with him and his life fell apart. A collapse which resulted in him taking his own life on August 31st. Let's read her tweet. I've been silent about this for almost my entire career and can't do it anymore. Sorry if this is rambling and messy. I'm scared shitless to go out to out an industry legend like this, but I can't live with a secret anymore. Bullshit. Let's read the news. To keen observers, it wasn't a coincidence that Zoe accusations lined up with the 5th anniversary of Gamergate. A debate on cronyism and politicization kicked off with accusations against Quinn. She has been able to turn that into a harassment survivor story in the eyes and with the help of the subservient gaming media, with herself as the protagonist. English. And this is true. She saw herself, I'm not getting attention today. What shit can I make up? I know! I'm gonna make some false accusations. And then let the simps do the job for me. That's what she did. The cynics in many of us saw a gross attempt at gaining more attention, and thanks to the fine reporting of other alt journalists, discrepancies within her story were quickly discovered. Like we all do when people like her make false accusations. What she claims happened doesn't match the reality depicted in social media engagements with a guy she labels as an abuser. Yet tragically, the man is dead and we'll never hear his side. Dead because Quinn decided to throw him to the wolves without a care in the world. He was destined to be presumed guilty the moment she clicked send, and I have zero doubts she knew what she was doing. I agree. I'm with Sophia on this. I have zero doubts that she knew what she was doing. Back to the news. Her entire story is rife with abuse, manipulations, and lies. Zoe has been able to scam herself into public eye, and thanks to those she has watching her back, no one within the mainstream media holds her accountable. I have personally spoken to people who have at one time or another been within her vicinity, and the general consensus is that you don't cross her, because if you do, it's a fast track to losing your career or worse. I guess all that's left to say is, happy anniversary, Zoe Quinn. Here's that attention you ordered. Exactly. I'm probably giving her the attention she needs right now by making this video. Maybe I'm unwittingly feeding her with attention, but anyway, I don't think I have anything else to say about this because, well, shit will keep going as is. She will not face any trials, she will not face any consequences for what she has done, and the suicide she caused, nothing is going to happen. But before I end this video, I have to say, don't contact her or people that follows her or any of her simps or anything like that. Just don't, okay? Anyway, thank you for watching. Good night.